Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Ringsiders Wrestling. Today on the show, I am joined not just by anybody, I am joined by a literal Hall of Famer. You might know her as Madusa, Alundra Blayze. You might even know her from the world of monster truck madness. I didn't even know that until last week. That blew my
No
mind.
way. Oh my God.
It blew my mind. And when I say this person has done everything there is to do in wrestling, I really do mean that. So thank you so much for joining us,
Oh,
Medusa, Alundra Blayze, whatever you'd like to be called, the baddest bitch ever.
that's funny.
So yeah, like I said, thank you so much for joining us. It's an absolute pleasure.
Oh, thank you for having me. Yay. So your co-host,
Yep, Jamie.
Jamie, will be coming on here shortly.
Maybe.
Maybe. Okay, whatever. I get it because I'm in Florida. I'm north of Tampa. And so I'm north of Tampa about an hour and a half. So it was 26 degrees, 28 degrees Fahrenheit. And my husband and I were just in Minnesota for Christmas. So I thought it'd be brilliant, hey, let's go to Minnesota, be the same degrees. We got there, it was like 15 below.
Wow.
15 below. And we went to a Minnesota Vikings game because I'm a huge Vikings fan. Woohoo.
Gosh.
Yeah, which we call football, and you guys have soccer, which we call soccer, but you call football. So
I'll just say one thing. I think you have the right name for it, by the way. I'm one of the few British people who actually agrees it should be called soccer.
it
Because
is
the original
soccer.
name for it was soccer football.
It was soccer, football. I don't even think too many people know that. Like you're young, and so if they would do their diligence, like
Exactly. Do your
like everybody
research. The
shit on
Americans are right.
everything. What actually right, wrong, who cares? It's not about being right. It was like, my my theory is, you hit upon something, and then we'll go ahead and get into anything you
Sure.
want to do. So, I mean, people need to do their diligence, right? And find out the facts and the correct statements. I hate people that I shouldn't say I hate people. I don't understand the undenying of 5 second of fame seekers that want to do a catfish type of title to get people to watch their stuff in one thing in one breath, and then try to make headlines and come up with these titles so people come and look at their stuff, and then when they do actually watch it or listen, it has nothing to do with the title, but it got the people there, right?
Right.
So it's kind of like, now let's talk about football, soccer. So it was soccer football. So there was kind of a oxymoron thing going there. I mean, uh, what
Yeah.
is it? Soccer football. They couldn't understand, so they called it football. But I don't think they, a football is a football, a soccer is a soccer. That
Mhm.
is a ball, right?
Yes.
Okay. So maybe that's why they felt like they could call it football because it is playing with your feet and it's foot and it's a ball. I get it.
Yeah. Get the
But
logic. Yeah.
yeah, but soccer, let me hear your meaning of soccer.
So my meaning of soccer is what we play, is what most people would call football in the UK.
Yes.
But when I think of football, I think of what the American sport is. If someone says to me football, I think of what the Americans play. And I
Yeah.
don't know if that's just because most of what I watch is American. I don't really
Oh,
watch
you
any
do?
British sports or anything. I watch a lot of hockey, so I'm a
Uh
big hockey fan. Outside of wrestling, yeah, I love Minnesota Wild.
Wild. Oh my
Yes,
God.
love
Yes.
the Minnesota Wild.
You do? You got their
Love.
colors on, sort of the
I
green
do,
and the
yeah,
gold.
kind of, yeah. So yeah, I love the Minnesota Wild. I also like Vancouver as well. That was the first team I ever supported. Uh,
Very good team.
and next time I
Yes.
come to America, I'm absolutely going to see some American sports because I don't like our sports, if I'm honest with you.
Oh, well, okay. There's one thing I do think is sexy and is rugby.
Rugby, yes, my mum
Yes.
agrees with you on that one.
I don't know why. I think it reminds me of a little bit of collaboration of wrestling and football
Sure.
because they're mean as hell and they don't
Yep.
give a shit and they don't wear any
Padding.
protection hardly.
Yeah.
No.
It's why so many injuries, very similar injuries to wrestling in rugby. Yeah,
Yeah.
collarbone, knees, everything like that. Very injury
Go All
ridden.
Blacks.
Yes, amazing team. Incredible.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, you see, this is what I love, right? Sometimes you get a guest on the show, and something you talk about the least is wrestling because you
I
can
know.
just talk about everything else with them, and you find out all these other cool little facts.
Yes. Who would have
And
thunk? Here
who
we
would
are
have
talking
thought,
about
right? Like I said,
rugby.
before we even get into the wrestling, I do want to discuss this.
Forget wrestling. Wrestling
Forget
sucks.
wrestling. We don't need wrestling. Monster truck racing. Monster truck.
Yes, let's
Yeah.
start
Okay.
there.
Cool. That blew my mind. Like I said, when I was doing my research last week, even though
Well,
I,
it's good you do research. That's good.
yeah, absolutely. Even if you think you know about a wrestler because you've seen them on TV for so long, still good to do your research. Um, but yeah, monster trucks. How did that come around? Have you always been a fan?
Okay, so to be honest with you, I've always been a gearhead my whole life. So been riding Harleys my whole life and dirt bikes and four wheelers, and so just a gearhead by nature. My grandmother rode a Harley up until she was 88, I think. Her Harley
Wow,
Davidson.
88.
She's still with us. She's 100. She still drives her truck. She
Amazing.
sews. Oh, she's amazing. Yes. Hopefully
What a
I do
woman.
have her genes. Yeah,
Yeah.
I went and saw her over Christmas in Minnesota. And I think that people live a lot longer in the north in the cold because they're half frozen half the year.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's just what I'm thinking. I think there's some truth to freezing the body and then coming alive. And then you know what I'm saying?
I think
Um,
so.
I think because we have these little geckos in Florida, the little lizards, and when it gets really cold, like I was saying, it was like 26 degrees here north of Tampa. And it was like all the little lizards, they freeze and they like die, but as soon as it warms, they come back to life. What is
Right.
that? There's got to
Yeah,
be some truth into that.
I think people do it as well, you know. We don't even realize. I think
No, no, not at all. Not at all. Okay, so back to monster trucks. So monster trucks. So being a gearhead, I was wrestling in for all them years, right? And I knew that WCW was taking a direction I just did not agree upon. That I worked so damn hard, to be a woman in this business and to um make ground, make to get respect, to own my place and to change the trajectory of women's wrestling and to make it better, to have women's names on the marquee, to get better pay, to hope fight for $1 million contracts someday.
yeah,
And it just, I was fighting and fighting, and it just it was getting there slowly, slowly. However, wrestling took a turn to the worse, I thought. But, you know, God bless the women that chose to be in the business during the Attitude Era because that's all
sure.
they had. And they had to do the bikini underwear and do the mud wrestling. And to me, I didn't see the guys doing mud wrestling.
Exactly, right?
Did you?
Yeah.
Did you?
No, I didn't ever.
Oh, okay. I thought maybe I missed
No,
something.
you
Yeah,
definitely didn't.
exactly. So let's have the women do it. Did the men come out in their Speedo fucking, excuse me, but tighty whities
No,
and wrestle in their, no? Oh, okay. But the women did. Oh,
the
okay.
women
Yeah.
did.
So we'll have the women do it and we'll make lots of money and make bank off of that, give them a little portion and just spar them and, we'll get rid of them afterwards. So during that time, when I was in WCW, I saw that happening there and I said, I'm out. So my contract, I said, I'm not resigning. I am just going to go ahead and retire. I said, screw this. So 2001, and plus I got a little word that maybe Vince was going to buy WCW. And I
Yeah,
just didn't know how true that was. And I said, I didn't give two craps because I worked too hard for the name Madusa and he isn't going to own that name. So I'm not renewing my contract. I'm out. Peace out. So I was going to retire at 2001 and I got a call in 1999. Hold on. So in 1999, I got a call from Mike Weber. Mike Weber used to work for WCW, right?
right.
And he is now the COO of Fight TV. How wonderful is that?
Yeah.
COO of Fight TV. So just an amazing man. And I got a call from Mike and he said, Deuce, what are you doing? I said, Michael, how the hell are you? Where are you? Where did you go after wrestling? He goes, I work for a company called Monster Jam and it's all about monster trucks. And I said, oh, okay. And I'm thinking, what the hell is that? Because I've never seen a monster truck before. I was like, oh my God. And he's like, no, Deuce, the reason why I'm calling is because this company needs help and we don't have any women drivers and we need women in the seats. And I can't think of the baddest woman ever to drive a truck than you. He goes, what are you doing? And I'm like, I'm out of here, Michael. I'm retiring in 2001 and I'm going to retire. He goes, oh, please, would you drive a monster truck? I said, are you kidding me? I've never even seen one. I don't even know what the hell you're talking about. And so I'm sitting there, kind of looking out like, what the hell? So they flew me out there. I test drove. And that following week, I started driving a monster truck. And 20 years later, and 2 world championships, I'm telling you, it was so bad. It was so badass. So
So
badass.
you went from not ever seeing a monster truck to driving one, and then going on to become a two-time world champion.
Yes.
So really, you've what I love about that story is not only in wrestling did you like people. A lot of people attribute you to like the originator of like the women's revolution, a phrase that's thrown around a lot nowadays. But you really were like one of these originators of that. And in monster trucks as well, you've kind of done the same thing by the sounds of it.
Same
Like
thing.
not just in
Yes.
wrestling, but also in monster trucks.
Oh, let me tell you, I would not be where I'm at in wrestling if it wasn't for the women before me. And and the women of today are doing so amazing. They are finally making $1 million contracts because of all the footwork from all the women, before them, and
Yeah,
including the Attitude Era, and including my Lost Era, and including the Golden Era. And
yeah,
it takes decades of great things to happen in anything that we do and progress in life, right?
yeah.
Get to the moon, to do this, to have that, and so I'm very, honored to be a part of that. I mean, it's not just all me. It's a compilation of women put together that made this great revolution of, whoa,
Yeah.
good stuff. So it's an evolution of women that worked so hard and wanted a place in this. Was that your wife?
It's my fiance.
Hi, fiance.
She was trying to
And
sneak in.
you did not. If she could have went down, crawled behind the, and then I would have peeked up behind the couch. No. Um, okay, so yeah. So anyway, I mean, there's just a great group of women in this business that have made this all happen, and it's just been tremendous. So, as you were saying in wrestling, like my style of wrestling was what's happening today.
Sure.
So fast forward, this is exactly what I fought for. And so it's so great. It's hard hitting, it's snug, it's almost like a Ronda Rousey badass,
Yeah.
legit type of, wrestling. And people can say what they want to about Ronda Rousey. And what WWE did was probably a really, really good move is to bring her in, even if it is intermittent. So what? People get pissed. It's entertainment, it's business. Good
Yep.
for her. Good for her because
Absolutely.
all she did by accepting this is just escalating it for the women to become better, right? Not that she was on the women's level because she had to learn a lot scratch, and fast. And I
Hmm.
think they knew that, choosing Rhonda because of her background of determination and fighting and work regiment and her work ethic, that they knew that she would learn quickly.
Oh, she did.
So,
Yeah.
oh my God, I don't
I,
care what anyone says. Her freaking matches. I mean, Summer, she's still learning, for crying out
I
loud. So,
I was there at her debut match in at the Superdome. Um,
oh, really?
yeah, and honestly, even watching it live, I thought there's no way this is her first match, and she was moving like she'd been wrestling for years.
Yeah, people, it pissed me off.
So
I
good.
go on Twitter and I like to poke the bear a little bit,
Sure, we all do.
and get shit started. And I just sit back and laugh and just watch all the fans and people just they attack you. And I'm like, oh, whatever, get over yourself. And so it's just, I mean, to me, that's whatever. So sometimes I'll say, oh, I mean, I need a retirement, and that's you, bitch. And I would put it on Ronda Rousey. right? And hopefully she knows I'm just
I'm
kidding.
sure she does. Yeah.
I hope so. But that she probably could break me in half at this stage. But if I was in my prime, I would definitely love to have a match with her. Are you kidding me? Hell yeah. And most of the girls today, yes.
Prime Madusa versus Prime Rousey would be one of those
Yes.
matches that those
Could
fantasy
you
matches.
imagine?
Yeah, right.
Oh
That's
my
a headline
God.
match. And what I
Mm,
love, like you said as well, is people don't complain about like Brock Lesnar being this like part-time wrestler, this
yeah,
badass, but when Ronda Rousey does it, people were kicking
they
off.
complain.
Yeah, it's like this. It's a huge double standard when it comes to the women's division, and it always has been. And now we've finally got these stars in women's wrestling who, like you said, they're headlining pay-per-views, they're making multi-million-dollar contracts, rightfully so, because they're drawing and doing better ratings than a lot of the men's segments. But
It's a
they'll
women's
always
wrestling
find something to
industry now.
complain. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. It
yeah.
almost is a women's wrestling
I
industry right
completely agree.
now.
Yeah,
And across the board, a lot of people are focused on, because women, like you said, it is a double standard in so many ways. Even the whole thing that we spoke about, I did on another podcast about Mandy, to each their own, power to her. Whatever she wants to do, she should be able to do. However,
yeah.
if it's in your contract, then you should know better not to, do other
That's the
things,
most
right?
rational take on that situation. Yeah,
Yeah, I
that's
mean,
it.
hey, I'm power to women that want to carry on and do your own stuff, but I feel that when you're going into a contract, you should know, and her lawyer
Yeah,
should know
the,
what
the
the
issue
contract
isn't what
is.
she was doing. What she was doing is fine. It's that she was doing it within a contract which likely says that she can't do that. That's the
Exactly.
yeah,
Yeah. And so that's understandable. I would definitely side. I mean, I would definitely side with WWE on that.
yeah.
If she can't do it, she can't do it. Then you shouldn't be doing, then you wouldn't be fired. But I'm also a Mandy fan. So,
Sure,
you
she
know,
she is fantastic.
oh my God, she's so damn gorgeous. I hate her. Oh
She
my God.
she's
I
the
mean,
total
I don't
package.
hate her. Yes,
Yeah,
she is.
she really is. She's a total package, and if she does come back to wrestling, I'm sure there's somewhere that will pick her up. But even if she decides she doesn't
She
want to
may
do it anymore
not.
because she's got
Yeah.
money, good for her. I mean, I definitely do the same. Like if I had that amount of money coming in, I'd happily retire as well. um,
Well, today there are so many more opportunities for people to do things outside of wrestling.
yeah, and you're
I
proof of that as
mean,
well. You've
hopefully I kickstarted it, you know what I mean? To let people know that, hey, you can do other things. You can have another career, even in a man's male dominated sport.
mhm.
I jumped in 2 feet in a Southern boys sport. Oh my God. In the state, Southern boys. Oh, hell no, girl belongs in that truck.
I can't even imagine because you did
Oh,
the AWA as well, didn't you? I believe. Um,
AWA?
yeah, AWA was it? Yeah. I can only imagine like that's AWA to me as a fan always seemed like one of those boys' locker rooms as well. Like backstage it would be the
Mm-hmm.
the the traditional wrestlers, the men, so to speak. I can was it like that backstage at the AWA? Was there a bit of that tension as well?
Well, okay, I'll tell you what. AWA was really good to me.
Really? Okay.
Oh my God, Vern paid me well. My first match, my big match with Sherry Martel, was at this Cow Palace, I think in San Francisco, which I love. And I'll never forget that it was like a 10-minute match, and Sherry and I got paid $800. $800 back in 1988, 89. What
That's
the
good.
hell?
Wow. That's good for these days, let alone in the 80s.
Yes, yes, or 87, whenever it was. I think it was 87. But anyway, it was crazy. And then I took that money and did some other things with it. And Vern was good. He put me on TV when I had I shouldn't have even been on TV. I was so damn green. I didn't even know what I was doing. I didn't even know what to, I didn't know how to speak or tell interviews or, tell a story, even that. I mean, I just stood there. Yeah, yeah. I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm just going to spurt out shit and because it
It
doesn't make
works.
sense. Yeah. And see what sticks. Oh my God. But yeah, Vern was amazing. And, WCW, it was was like a cesspool. I
Yeah.
mean, it was just boys club making millions of dollars if you were in with the right people. You know what I'm
And let's
saying?
be honest, that is why WCW died.
Mm,
It was a boys' club who were just focused on not making money for the company, making money for themselves, and putting themselves over and giving no one else opportunities. And that's only, again, me talking as a fan. I wasn't there. I was only
oh,
a kid. But yeah,
well, I
from
know
all the
I didn't make
stories,
millions.
there you go.
No,
And
no, but the guys sure did.
the guys did.
The handful of the guys did.
Uh,
And, it was very, um, it was very disrespectful. And, but again, I was fighting against a machine that, I was, again, alone, fighting for myself, fighting for the women's locker room, fighting for everything that I believed in. And it was just a brick wall. It was a freaking brick wall again. And even in monster trucks, I mean, in monster trucks, I fought really hard. In fact, I took 20 steps back going into the monster truck business, and I made even less
yeah.
for years. I did not start making even close to any halfway decent money till almost I retired. I am not kidding. It was crap. It was crap. I was really good to wrestling. Wrestling wasn't good to me.
Yeah, that I've heard that saying before actually from a few people who have said like they put so much into wrestling, but they got nothing out of it. That they
But
might have
I
been on TV, but they didn't get anything for themselves out of it.
correct. I mean, I'm very grateful because of all the experience and places and stuff and people I met. I mean, I don't want to sound ungrateful or I feel like, wrestling owes me anything. It doesn't owe me crap. You know what I'm saying? However, people in charge could have done better. And there's a lot of them. A lot of them could have done better. And I feel that there was a huge shift in life in the world within the last 5 years that have actually pressed the issue even harder and louder to make notice of things that have been happening. And that's what helped elevate
Yeah,
things to happen for women even more powerfully. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
So
sure.
when
I
the
think
Me Too, when the Me Too movement and, the whole thing started, which I think it would have been or is a good situation. I feel that there was situations that took advantage of that as well.
sure.
However, it really helped open up a few doors for women in general. And I feel that it really has changed when that all started with a lot of other things. It opened up a lot of bad situations and made it noticeable.
Yeah.
And it exposed a few rotten apples,
Oh,
and
good.
they very rightfully so, like
Yeah.
like Harvey Weinstein, right? In Hollywood. That when that took place, you're just waiting for all the rest of the crap to happen. And
Yep.
there's tons more, but they're not
There
going to
is.
be exposed
Let
until
we'll
the
never
next
them all
round.
because the problem is there'll always be more created. There'll always be more bad people coming into the industry. We've just
Mm,
sure that when things do happen, they're outed as fast as possible. And I think
mm,
like now that people realize they can talk about these things, and if you are an abuser of any kind in any industry, eventually someday you will get outed. Hopefully that's enough of a deterrent for some people.
yes.
But like you said earlier as well, I feel like we needed to expose the problems of what women had been through in the past in wrestling, especially
Amen.
to be able
Amen.
to,
And
to realize what we needed to fix in the future. And that's what I think we're in the middle of now. Hopefully.
I agree with you. And I do. And it needs to keep going. And here's my thought on this. So, people will say, Medusa, why didn't you speak out before? Well, it's not like I haven't. People just didn't do anything.
Yeah.
They shut me out, or I got fired, or my contract got half. And so let me tell you, it was a total bitch. It was a bitch. They were a bitch, and I turned into a bitch because it was like no one's hearing me. I'm right here, and people are like, you didn't open up, and why are you opening up now? Well, I did, assholes. No one wanted to hear me. It was all men anyway, and they were scared shitless. So blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
You know,
That sounds
and
about
and
right.
then And there's some things I will take to my grave. Because right now, 30 years later, some of these families are half of them are dead,
Hmm.
and the only ones left are maybe siblings, and they have nothing to do with what their parents would have done. And so what's the point? All you would do is hurt those kids.
Sure.
I don't know at that point, what is the freaking point if they're not here anymore? Right?
Exactly. Yeah. That's such an awful situation to even be in. I can't even imagine because I was saying to Jamie, my co-host, a couple of weeks ago, there was a time a
Mm.
few years ago where when the speaking out happened, I almost completely fell out of love with wrestling because everyone that I was a fan of was like had done something bad, and I thought, what's the point in even being a fan of this when
It's horrible.
it's
Oh my
horrible, isn't it?
God.
But then obviously talking to people like yourself and all the other great guests we have on makes you realize like those are just a few bad eggs. You can't say everybody is bad in wrestling. That's not the case.
Exactly.
So I'm still
Especially
a fan of it,
now.
but yeah, especially now. But there was a time where even as a fan, I almost completely fell out of love with it. And it took a while to
Wow.
really, want to do even this, talking to people. But the more I spoke to people, the more I realized, like, yeah, not everyone is the same. And hopefully, we are getting all that trash out of wrestling now, making it safer for the talent that are wrestling, the fans as well. Because,
Mm.
it was happening everywhere. There was fans coming out with stories, there was wrestlers.
Oh,
And I feel like we are getting, some progress made now. There's
it
still
was so
room. There's
toxic.
so
It was so
toxic.
toxic. It
Yeah.
was horrible. And people say, well, you can say what you want. That was the era and everyone accepted it then. No, a lot of people didn't have the legs to stand on, except for a lot of you guys made millions of dollars and you could talk the talk and you had money to stand on. But when people wanted to fight you, they didn't have
I
money.
hate
And
that
oh, by the
excuse.
way, you're fired. Huh?
Yeah, like murder in any century is murder, and so is abuse, right? It doesn't matter which
Yes.
decade it was in; it still happened.
Thank
That
you.
I never understood that logic.
I
Uh,
know. We had logic right out the freaking window. It's like
yeah,
they're
a
just,
crime is
"Ugh."
crime. It doesn't matter if it was like or acceptable back then; it's still breaking the law. But yeah,
Some of the old timers though, they'll say, "Well, it was accepted back then." Not
yeah.
really.
Oh, it was
Who
just
shits
it, it was
in
yeah,
somebody's food?
yeah, right. That's disgusting for a start. Um,
People would go to jail now. I mean, that's like a
good.
federal offense. I mean, that's horrible.
And you know
And
what?
they thought it was funny. And
Good.
half these guys in interviews have talked about it. They've like said who has done it and why hasn't that come about and why aren't they in jail?
Yeah, exactly.
God
I
damn.
I'd put someone in prison just for doing that anyway because that is absolutely disgusting. But
Yes, it is.
there's things that if you saw that on Reddit, I guarantee some people on the subreddit would be saying that's hilarious. Why are we angry about this? I'm like, well, if someone did that to you, I guarantee you'd have an issue with it. You'd be
Yeah, like
furious.
that movie. Have you ever seen the movie The Help?
No, no.
Please watch that movie, The Help.
Right.
It
Okay.
doesn't help what we're talking about at all. But because this woman's really mean at this other woman, and for a welcoming or something, she makes a shit pie and gives it to her and watches her eat it. It's
Oh my
horrible.
God. All right.
But
Well, I might give that a watch. I
it's
might just
called The
watch
Help.
that clip. Yeah.
It's a true story, I think, but it's a classic film and it was very well written. It was a great movie.
Right. I'll get that on the list to watch, and I'm sure it'll make more
I'm
sense when
not
I
saying
watch.
I'm not condoning now that is okay. I'm just
No,
saying. I'm just saying.
no. Go in
Speaking of
from.
movies,
I was gonna
speaking of
go on.
movies. Okay, speaking of movies, have you seen The Glass Onion?
Oh, I'm gonna watch it either tonight or tomorrow.
Okay. I
It
just
looks
watched it,
amazing.
and yeah, because I watched the one previous to it, and I was like, ugh. And then this came out, and I'm like, I sure the hell ain't watching that.
Because
And
it's
then
got
I
Batista
did.
in, right?
It has Batista in it. And I was like, oh my God, he was so good. I've never really saw much of his acting, but he's what a very colorful guy. Like he can be any character. And out of all the wrestlers that became movie stars, he's the most prevalent that
Yeah.
has become that he can switch into characters.
He's
And I thought,
versatile.
oh
He can do comedy. He's in a
yeah,
horror film coming out soon, and
I know
I'm really
on
happy for
February
him.
3rd, the one cabin or the knock on the cabin, and I
That's it.
nearly
Yeah.
crapped myself. I saw that trailer and was like, "Oh my god, I want to be in a horror film so
Doesn't it
bad."
look good? Doesn't it look good? I saw that trailer and I thought, wow, this looks amazing.
Go
I
on
think he's so good.
Twitter. Go on Twitter because I liked it and I said something, and the company knock whatever one cabin knock or whatever
Yeah.
it's called, they came back at me
Oh,
and they
really?
said, "You're chosen. What would you do?" And I went, "Oh shit! Who would I
That,
choose? Oh my god!"
that's
And
great marketing, though, right?
yes, and they're like, they probably don't know who I am, but I love the director. Like he's one of my favorite directors because he has this thriller suspense. His mind is incredible. Shalaman, I think, however you say it.
Yeah.
But so I answered back, everyone, go back and look at that Twitter and tell me, like, I came up with this in like just minutes, right? And I try to keep it. I kept going back because you're only allowed so many damn characters in that thing. And so I entered my own plot.
Right.
And I'm like, and someone comes back and they go, "Hell, Deuce, you should be a writer for WWE."
Oh my God. That that would be interesting. I'd love to have
No.
Medusa and
Yes.
Medusa WWE. We'd have had the women's revolution 20 years ago.
Oh boy, I'd be writing some good crap for women, let me tell you.
Definitely. Speaking of writing good crap, here's a good segue, I think, and I'll take back the
Oh
crap.
yes.
Yes.
Too bad, Jamie. Too bad you weren't here, Jamie. You missed out, Jamie.
He has just messaged me saying, "Please send her my apologies." And
Not
I said,
accepted. No, just kidding.
"Now it's too late to apologize, Jamie. We're already halfway through." The woman who would be king, the Madusa
stuff. Woman who would be king. Yes.
Coming
it's out now. Out. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to overtalk you. So the woman who would be king just came out on Amazon, guys. Check it out. I'm really excited. Very, very, very well written book. I will tell you, it is my personality. It is from A to P to D to Z. It's like, I mean, this book will keep you interested. You have to keep reading because it's from here, it goes here, and then it goes back to here, it goes back to here. And because how do you put 40 years of entertainment in one book? It's very difficult, especially two different careers that have such a compelling, I mean, you can't. So you try to condense it, right? So I made it, it doesn't start, "Hi, my name is Deborah. I was raised in Minnesota." Oh, bullshit. It goes right into some good stuff and it just carries on from there. It will have you laughing, crying. It'll piss you off. And then you'll come back and it's going to motivate you. You're going to be, I just feel so lucky. And I'm so full of gratefulness that it's coming out on a hardcover.
Yeah.
So please, guys, to save your spot on a hardcover, go ahead and order it. And so on my book tours, I'm hoping to come to the UK. I think it's the end of April for the Love of Wrestling or something.
Oh,
I don't know. I think I don't know. We're going to try to go over there for that. And then that'll kickstart my tour kind of over in the UK a little bit, do a couple stops. And what we're going to do is we're going to do like a VIP setting. And so we'll do like a VIP. We'll have some, a little bit of food and drinks. And then everyone hopefully will have their books by then. And then I will pick some people and we're going to talk about a chapter, whatever they want to. And then I'm going to tell them a little more deeper insights of that chapter.
That's brilliant. And as well, I think what a lot of people might be excited to hear as well is the foreword is by Paul Heyman.
Paul Heyman, one of my besties. Oh my God. I love
you've worked with in WCW, you've got history together. Yeah, and AWA. He's someone you've got a lot of history with. As somebody who is still on TV nowadays, with the bloodline, doing your forward for your book, that's incredible. I think this is one of those books, like you said, there's going to be a bit of everything. And if you've enjoyed this podcast, just hearing these little snippets of your career, you're probably going to love this book as well. And I want a hardcover copy of it. I do like digital copies, but I really want a hardcover as well. And me and Jamie have been saying we want to go to for the Love of Wrestling, so maybe we'll get it signed as well.
Hopefully, hopefully that gets booked soon.
So this book, like I said, March 28th, hardcover, going to be a little bit of everything in this book, and we're definitely going to be getting hold of it, and so should you. Um, we are going to start wrapping up in a moment. Obviously, we spoke a little bit about wrestling, lots about monster trucks and everything in between. But yeah, it's been an absolute pleasure getting the chance to speak with you. Like I said, you are a genuine Hall of Famer and someone who has done everything. So it's been an absolute delight speaking with you.
Oh, thank you. It looks like your microphone's on fire. It's all orange.
It looks like a heater, doesn't it? Everyone says that.
Yes.
Like,
Yes.
yeah,
Oh, that's kind of
it's cool, isn't
that's
it?
cool. Yeah. All right. Blayze. You knew I'd be on here. Alundra Blayze. Got
I'd
some
love it if
Blayze.
that's it. That's it. We'll go with that.
That's
I was
it.
thinking,
We're
yeah, there
gonna
we
go
go.
with that. Yeah, sounds good. Thank you
I'll
for
see
having me,
you when
guys.
it's up.
Yes.
Thanks for coming on.
Oh, thank you so much. Sorry, Jamie.
You missed out.
Yeah.
See you later.
Bye.